Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kristina Lynn Show. The talk show with heart, where Kristina brings you up close and personal with the most fascinating guests from all walks of life.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And now your host, Kristina Lynn.
Hello and welcome to the Kristina Lynn Show. I'm your host, Kristina Lynn. And as you know, we are the talk show with heart, and we bring you some of the most fascinating and amazing people on this whole world. And I am saying today how excited I am right up front to have with me again my dear friend Henry Baker. Henry, welcome back to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Kristina.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Henry is an amazing man. He has done so many things. I don't want to make you blush, but he first graduated from Emory University with a BBA in marketing and entrepreneurship. And he's now the president of High Value Financial. But one of the things, and the most important thing we're going to talk about today of all of your achievements, Henry, is the fact that you are now the president and the founder of the We Care Forever Foundation. And as you have been sharing with me earlier before we started the show, it's amazing. So I want to ask you, let's let our audience know, starting off, exactly what is the We Care Foundation and why is it important?
Yeah, thank you so much. We Care Forever is a amazing organization that been basically brainstorming and working on to understand the challenges that are going in the underserved communities, in the African American communities in our country. And amazingly enough, I have learned so much that I never knew existed and happened and is going on in that community. It's been quite a eye-opening experience. We Care Forever was started just after the George Floyd incident. That was really shook me very deeply watching that video. I was alone during COVID in my office.
That was a difficult time for everybody in America.
Yeah, it was very difficult. And I felt very, very helpless and very, very bothered. And I started to remember some of the things that bothered me about racism and different things that are not in balance, I feel. Try to stay positive in our country, and decided, after struggling with it for, I think it was that day, I actually decided to do something. I didn't know exactly what that was, but quickly after, I started the We Care Forever Foundation. And We Care Foundation, I call a social venture capital firm. I do believe that the brilliance of the American corporations, our capitalism, it's not a problem for development. It's how do we partner the corporations with the nonprofits?
Right,
heroes?
that's very important. Yeah. So how have you come up with a solution to make that easier?
So amazingly enough, the nonprofit world is run very differently than the private sector or the corporate world. The thing that really struck me, there's a few things, was the small amount of grants, very low level grants that are put out. A lot of small organizations operating, very different than the venture capitalist mindset, which is to find really stars and to support those organizations that have figured out how to do something better, smarter, more efficiently. And it struck me that the results in nonprofits was a secondary consideration. And that I found was very disturbing. I believe that the underserved.
Why do you think that is? Let's look at that a minute. What has caused that?
I don't mention his name, but there's a idea out there that by being critical or being professional with nonprofits will damage their passionate work. And I find that very disturbing because I believe we should be celebrating our capitalist nature,
Yes.
our corporations, our drive for success, for doing things better.
Yes.
And I believe by applying those principles to the nonprofit sector, we will see tremendous results, because I've met so many community heroes, I call them, who know what needs to be done in the communities and have tremendous results with very little financing.
Yeah, and see, that's important too, is to go back to the communities, back to the grassroots.
Yes.
I think that's something, I'm glad you're talking about that, because it's so important that our community leaders step up, and that we have things that families and mothers and fathers, can really get together with their children and make a difference in their own community. It's so important. Yeah, so let's talk about some ways that you've already developed that and been able to move forward with it.
Yeah. So at its heart is this partnering, supporting nonprofits to become more operationally efficient, successful, identifying those organizations and nurturing them, looking for how to expand their effectiveness to a large number of beneficiaries or
Will you be
people that they
training them?
service. Could be an elements of training. That's one of the big issues and
Okay.
with some of the heroes. The interesting thing is that the challenge is that when you're dealing in the private sector, you have, obviously, when you have like an investment in a corporation, investors are looking for ROI, or I like to call it ROI, which is return on investment. When you're dealing in the charity sector or servicing, the needy or the underserved, it's not about dollars. It's about, in my mind, it's about results. So I like to call it
Right.
return on social investment, or ROSI. And these are acronyms that we're playing with, because really it's the passionate people on the ground doing the real work. If you can partner them up with the capital and with the organization and grow what they've already proven, then the results are going to be absolutely amazing.
They are. That's wonderful. I'm glad it's named Rosie, because that reminds me of my wonderful grandmother who in Louisville, Kentucky, did so much humanitarian work
Mhm.
and taught so many underprivileged children and helped them to go on to great careers. So that's a perfect name in my book. That's fantastic. Now let's move on to this amazing new project that you have. As a matter of fact, we need to take a commercial, but when we come back, I want you to be able to tell me about how everything is moving along regarding your new project. But I see we do have a few more minutes, so let's get right into it. I want to move ahead with this. And that is such an exciting project. It's called the One World Symphony and the Little Bucket Experience. What is that, and why should we all be so excited about it?
Well, I'm truly excited about this project. This came to us through my friend, the maestro Dino Zanuck, who is an internationally known composer and maestro in symphony orchestras. He has accomplished many youth symphonies in underserved communities like Compton, Los Angeles, also Dayton, Ohio, with amazing results.
That's my hometown, Dayton, Ohio. How wonderful. These children may have never even seen a symphony.
Right.
Symphony, I mean, excuse me.
well, it's not that they're going to see the symphony. They are going to be the symphony. They are
Even
actually
better.
trained in 8 weeks, even with very little musical experience, to actually be in a symphony orchestra. It's actually telling the children and the community and the world that anything is possible. And for me, every child should believe that they can reach their goals, no matter what color they are or what their beliefs are. That's very important. So One World Symphony, Little Buck Experience, works in the elementary schools. Little Buck Experiences in the elementary schools. This is around emotional learning, which is amazing when you're dealing with bullies and boundaries. And Mr. Jeff Bates, my good friend, is a miracle worker working in the schools. So we're going to be bringing both these programs together for the first time ever. And this is going to be in the Jennings School District, also Ferguson and
Jennings?
Florissant. This is outside St. Louis.
Okay.
And it's a
Great.
wonderful opportunity. I met Mayor Ella Jones from Ferguson, who was very excited about it off the bat, who introduced us to Superintendent Knight in Jennings. And
Ferguson, of course, we're all familiar with
yes.
because of the very sad riots and the shooting that happened there.
Yes.
So I find it very interesting that that's one of the areas you've chosen.
Yes.
And how do you see that this is going to really help that community?
Well, we were actually invited by some fairly wealthy individuals to come to this area. They felt that bringing the symphony, the music to Ferguson would be amazing, especially to this underserved community, giving an opportunity that I never had. And I think is most people I speak to about it do not believe that it's possible, even though we've already seen it happen in, like I said, in Compton and in Dayton. So the other part is, like you said, about Michael Brown and the riots in Ferguson, people's vision. That's a very different reality. I think people see a very different presentation on the media. And when we actually understand and ask the questions and slow down and really engage with the community, we see a completely different picture. So that's part of the story.
Oh, fantastic. Well, now we do need to take a break, but I'm so excited to come back and hear more about the Little Bucket experience and all that you're doing with We Care Forever. So I'm here with Henry Baker on the Kristina Lynn Show. Stay tuned. Here's a word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back.
This is a St. Jude moment.
Ashton was a high-level athlete, and in an instant, your world flips. And your healthy 5-year-old competitive cheerleader has a brain tumor. And the physician was like, your best option is St. Jude. Receiving treatment that was life-saving for our child and knowing that that treatment would be of no cost to us was a huge weight lifted.
Learn more at stjude.org.
A delicious cup of coffee is a daily staple, but if you are one of 50 million Americans that suffer from acid sensitivity or digestive issues, that cup of Java can ruin the rest of your day. Until now, introducing Tyler's Coffee, an acid-free alternative to the traditional bean.
I knew that there was a need because my father had a need. And if my father had a need, then how many other people have a need?
The key to Tyler's Coffee is the roasting process.
We knew we wanted to go USDA certified organic. So we wanted to be the purest and cleanest coffee in the world. We had to source stuff from Africa, we had to source stuff from Brazil, we had to source stuff from Chile, and we put it through our proprietary Z roasting processor. So what that really truly means to you is that the coffee doesn't have inflammatory properties in it. I'm dedicated to serving 50 million Americans that suffer from stomach-related modalities, and also the millions of other people that just deserve a great tasting cup of coffee that's healthy and safe.
Affiliated with Tyler's Coffee, but I can tell you that drinking acid-free coffee will really ease your stomach. I'm so glad I found it.
I love their coffee. It's very good. It's very smooth. Their process still keeps the rich coffee flavor without all the acidity of it. And I really enjoy it.
Available in regular or decaf, ground or whole bean, you can enjoy Tyler's Coffee in a drip, French press, espresso, or any of your favorite methods, even the ever-popular K-Cup. Enjoy a fresh cup like never before. Drink different. Drink smart. Drink Tyler's Coffee.
And welcome back. I'm Kristina Lynn, and this is the Kristina Lynn Show. And we're speaking to a wonderful friend and a great humanitarian, Henry Baker. Henry, thanks again for telling us so much about your foundation that you have created, We Care Forever. And now we're talking about a great project, the One World Symphony and the Little Bucket Experience. Let's hear a little bit more now about what is the Little Bucket Experience. That sounds wonderful.
So we were very interested in having all the students in the district, actually the three districts that we'll be working in, all part of this program. And Little Bucket Experience is focused on the elementary schools. It's focused, it revolves around the book, The Little Bucket, which is all about boundaries and looking inside and how we can be giving to other people and maybe not filling up ourselves, looking at.
It teaches children a lot of these lessons then, is that right?
A lot of lessons, why do people feel empty? My friend Jeff Bates has had amazing experiences with children coming up to him after the program, asking how is it possible that he can understand what it feels like to be them. He actually sees the children and go with what we're going through now after COVID and issues, and obviously issues that were even from before COVID. We find this is very, very important. The principals and Jennings told us, and number one concern is around emotional intelligence and well-being. And this is what the Little Bucket is about. The Little Bucket will actually be featured in One World Symphony as well. So it'll include the elementary school students in with that program.
They'll be performing?
There are going to be elements that they're involved with. We're still going to work that out, but be a part of that. And in One World Symphony, I mean, the plan is, and we're working on this, we just got the approval from the school district just a few weeks ago, to have 200 to 400 musicians playing in One World Symphony.
Really? Wow.
This will be a large symphony orchestra, up to 300 choral singers as well. And we have an amazing legend in St. Louis named Dello Thedford, who is a legendary choir master who is collaborating with us on this project. We're very honored to have Dello working with us, amongst many other heroes in the community. And it's just so clear, the research on what classical music and band and dance and partnering even with sports as well. And we have a wonderful partner as well, Moreland Greenwood and the Moreland Greenwood Foundation, football player, former NFL player, who has a wonderful sports program that deals with many of the needs of the children, a very caring, good friend of mine. He's also going to be participating, and many other nonprofits are going to be
doing exactly.
We're going to be we're looking to create a legacy, and not just for this to be a one-time event, but to actually launch the Performing Arts Revitalization Program.
Now tell us about that.
Yeah.
How would that work in a community to revitalize that? They really need that. There's so much that's not going any longer to be funded with the arts in schools.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to help that.
So Superintendent Knight, Paula Knight, is very passionate about the arts, and that's why we're able to do One World Symphony Little Bucket experience, and we're very, very happy about that. But the legacy is to raise money, because this is going to be an amazing opportunity for corporations and foundations to partner with us, and as we go city by city, because this is just the first One World Symphony Little Bucket experience. Our goals are to have such an amazing result from this one that we'll be going city to city across America. And our plan is to leave a legacy working with other nonprofits and amazing organizations such as Rescue Children Now.
Yeah, that's my charity, Rescue Children.
This is around protecting children from trafficking, which is horrendous problems. And the other part of We Care Forever that we really are passionate about is to identify these dead ends and horrible situations that we face in our country, dead ends that our children face, could be racial issues, could be different matters, or just all children are facing, and to identify those, find the community heroes that are doing amazing work like Kristina Lynn and her Rescue Children Now organization, which I'm on the board of, and to really use One World Symphony Little Bucket Experience event to really introduce these amazing heroes to the community and to help them expand their reach and to make them much more effective.
It's so important. You know, I think what we need to do, a problem I've noticed in communities, and this is something I believe that your We Care Forever will help, is that sometimes there's a disconnect in communities where right under the children's noses and the parents may not even know that they have all these great resources and these wonderful heroes right in their own communities. And so this is something that you all would probably be able to really change and make all these wonderful heroes known and help them to really be able to accomplish a lot more in their communities.
For example, even looking at historical heroes that didn't get the credit or people don't recognize, like your grandmother, Rosie.
Oh, Rosie Meadows, yeah.
Grandmother Rosie Meadows.
Yes, she was a great hero in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes. And I think it's important for everyone to see that the heroes working in the African American community and some underserved communities don't necessarily look like them. There are many heroes that are white men, women, different cultures,
Hispanic,
Chinese, all, it's
all races, all colors, all creeds.
And I think there's a big push in our media and politics to divide. And one of my big passions is to bring us together, because we're much more alike than we are different. And it's unfortunate to other people's benefits to divide for many different reasons. And that for me is a dead end. And for We Care Forever is a real effort to stop that.
Okay, great. That is so important. Bringing everyone together. And I love how you have named the symphony the One World Symphony.
Yes.
Again, coming together, bringing all people together. We're all God's children.
Mm-hmm.
We're all meant to be together. And there's so many people that want to do humanitarian work.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily know how they can do it. So I noticed, we'll talk for a minute about Rescue Children Now. And we have had many volunteers reach out to want to help us.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, of course, we'll talk about this in other shows, but Rescue Children Now is helping to stop child trafficking. We're working with other wonderful charities, supporting them and helping them as well. And they're helping us, particularly Craig Sawyers and Forrest Seeley have the Vets for Child Rescue. So we're doing some great things to help them and work with them as well. Not to mention there are many other great charities that are out there. So to have We Care work as a bridge, it sounds like almost, maybe to bridge and connect other charities together. That's a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, that's very exciting for us. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we are actually also planning flash mobs, which will be spontaneous events in the community where there will be music being played. This is a very different kind of image. And we're also going to be recording all of this in a documentary.
Great.
With our good friend Elizabeth Yoder at Elevating Hope, amazing nonprofit. She has amazing turnaround stories. And I believe that we need to turn around. We're heading, I think, in one trajectory, unfortunately, dominantly in our country, and showing, obviously, we don't want to ignore what's been going on historically.
Right.
I'm actually horrified of what I found out. 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. You can read a book called The Broken Heart of America. It is mind-boggling what was going on in the St. Louis area. And for us,
things have changed so much now.
Things have changed, and I think that they're going to change more. And by bringing people together, because the African American community is absolutely an amazing community. I'm absolutely amazingly surprised just how wholesome, just how passionate the heroes are in the community. And
I've seen many of those as well.
Yeah, so by organizing together and by bringing people together, because the divisions are really not so big. It's really a smokescreen or some kind of effort by whatever forces you want to believe in. And this is what's tearing us apart. The only way that this country can be taken down is from inside, and that's what's happening. It's not an external threat.
We can stop that too. And I believe that people like yourself, heroes like yourself, Henry, are helping that to take place and to be done. Well, I tell you what, we've got some more questions and we will be right back. I've had a couple come in from the audience, so stay tuned. We're going to have another word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back for more of the Kristina Lynn Show.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
With the timeless protection of ADT, it's safe to say,
hey Google, unlock the front door.
When you've helped save more lives than any other home security brand, it's safe to say, There's a reason millions of people trust ADT to help protect what matters most.
Okay, and we're back for more of the Kristina Lynn Show. I've been talking with Henry Baker of We Care Forever Foundation. And Henry, you have put some wonderful new spins on improving foundations and charities and how you can help other ones. So this is just so exciting. Now, let's talk about another great thing that you're working on, and that's your performing arts revitalization project. Tell us more about what that entails and exactly what you're planning to do with this.
I was talking just earlier with a friend of mine, and honestly, we should all be talking about reducing police forces and not needing this kind of expense in our communities. Now, the way to do that is to change the perspective and create, in my mind, hope and opportunity and excitement for the future for the children, so they don't look for these dangerous and civil unrest kind of situations, be involved with gangs.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they're bored and they don't have something,
Yes.
a really creative outlet, I think a lot of the gang members are simply bored. They probably have single parents and they've got all that time on their hands and they don't know what to do with it.
Well, I think there's a lot of dead ends also in the community, and that's something that's important for us to identify as a society, so that it's not so easy to be knocked off of your goals, especially be hit with felonies. And there's a lot of issues around that. I have a good friend working in Read Before You Plea. It's a new nonprofit which is just formed, and that's around helping youngsters who are caught, say, with misdemeanors, not taking plea bargains, which would let them out of prison.
Wow,
no
that's
prison terms, but would actually have them have felonies on their records, which is basically a death sentence in many ways.
That is so important.
Yeah, it is. It's really huge. And that's something that
Those children don't know what they're doing.
they don't know what they're doing. A lot of them have even issues reading, and they get sold that they should sign it because unfortunately it's the advantage just to move them along and get them out of the system. So there's very little attention placed on these children. And I think it's just so important to tell the children that they matter. And that's what We Care Forever is here, working with the heroes that say, hey, you matter. And we're going to give you the opportunities and make sure that if you are on a track to go to college and you have your goals and your aspirations, they can't be destroyed very, very quickly just based on circumstance. Now, I want to talk about the Arts Revitalization Program, which
Yes.
was actually introduced by Dr. Knight.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic idea. In every city that the One World Symphony Little Buck experiences in, we want to leave a legacy and have many amazing things that can, really change the community and be there for the students. So I'm actually stepping up to the challenge to work with foundations, philanthropists, corporate partners to raise $100 million for a fund that will constantly, forever, put in millions of dollars a year, an endowment.
Wow, that's fantastic.
in each community. And I believe that every community in America can step up for the children, for these underserved communities, and make this a reality. So we'd have 3 million increasing every year going into the communities for the classical music, for musical instruments, for dance, for sports, for different programming. And this is something that will be ongoing, and the corporations that join us and the foundations and the individuals, philanthropists, will have recognition forever for being a part of this. And
Great.
I'm calling on St. Louis and to step up, because you're going to be enjoying many performances by your
Absolutely.
students.
I wish we had more time. Henry, it has been just a great honor. I can't even express what an honor it is to have you here today and to be able to have you share with us about everything you're doing with We Care Forever and your One World Symphony, as well as the Little Bucket experience. And I will be there with bells on in 2023. In the meantime, I know you're going to do lots of other things in these communities and with the children and get all of that going right away. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Kristina Lynn, and be sure and join us next time for another fascinating guest right here on the Kristina Lynn Show.
We'll be looking forward to seeing you again. And don't forget just how important you really are to us. We love and respect each and every one of you.
Take a step toward bringing our country and community together. Start a meaningful conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.